In this video, I'm going to do an update on TLRY stock because it's providing a great buying opportunity again. But please watch this video till the very end because I'm going to show you exactly what might happen and what some great price points to take a position. So to start off, I first introduced the stock to you guys back in July 21st, like right here when it's trading at 68 cents. You can go to my channel page and see like around like it was 3 months ago, I brought you this stock when I was trading at 62 cents. And from that point, we had this like amazing run up, like 230% run up. So please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed and please let's give this video a like. Let's try to get to 200 likes. So since this peak, we've been on a downtrend and the entire market is down. So all these micro cap stocks are trading down with the entire market. But what I want to show you is that in the last video, the last update I made, like this is what I told you. So in the last TLRY update I made, this is what I said. So listen to this. Because we printed the sell signal and based on market conditions, it might trade below the 50-day moving average and come all the way down to this 200-day moving average. So in the last update video, I told you it was trading like around like $1.47, and I told you it might come down and trade all the way down to this 200-day moving average. And exactly like I told you, it is trading down and touching this 200-day moving average. And that's why I'm making this video right now, because I believe right now might be a great opportunity to take a position, but there's a chance that it could break this 200 moving average, and I'm going to show you that too in this video. But another thing I would just want to tell you, like once you understand the technical analysis, it becomes so obvious. It becomes so easy to figure out when to take a position. Like the technicals are a great tool, like one of the best tools you can utilize once you understand it. And it doesn't have to be more complicated than just looking at the moving averages. When we combine the moving averages with the short float information, we have enough data to determine, okay, if the stock is going to fly, just like we determined back here on July 21st before this huge run up. So again, it doesn't have to get more complicated than understanding the moving averages. And exactly like I told you in the last TLRY update video, that it will come down and test this 200 moving average. And it's on its way to do that. So right now, there's two things that could potentially happen. So it hasn't touched this 200 moving average yet. It probably will by end of today or tomorrow. And for this 200-day moving average to act as a support for that confirmation, we need to see the ticker. We need to see the price bounce right off this 200-day moving average with a little bit of volume coming in. So I wouldn't take a position yet. I would keep watching it, probably set an alert. So on TradingView, you can right click on the 200-day moving average and add an alert and say, yeah, when it's crossing. So create that alert. If it starts to bounce right off this 200-day moving average, that's an amazing point to take a position because it will start trading back up and you don't have to wait too long. You don't have to wait, for it to like print a new local all-time high. You could just like exit at a solid 20, 30, 50% profit. But there's another scenario that could potentially happen on the technical. So the first thing is that we want to see a bounce of this 200-day moving average, and that would be a signal, okay, like the stock is reversing trend. The second thing that could potentially happen is that it could break down this 200-day moving average. So it's something you have to understand. Everything when it comes to the technical analysis, especially the way we are using the moving averages, is an if and then statement. So if it bounces off this 200-day moving average, great point to take a position. But if it breaks this 200-day moving average, then this will happen. So we go to the weekly chart and we see that it did print a sell signal on the weekly chart and it's below this 50-day moving average. So let's go back to the daily and we can draw a line right here so we can see exactly where it is on the weekly. So we're drawing a line right there on the 200-day moving average. So back on the weekly, we see that the 200-day moving average on the daily chart would be right here. So if it breaks this line, if it breaks like 93 cents, then there's a chance that it can come all the way down to 38 cents, at which point it will create like a double bottom. And 38 cents, if it does go down to 38 cents, again, everything's an if and then statement. If it breaks this trend line at like around 94 cents where the 200-day daily moving average is, then it will most likely go down to around like 38 cents all the way down here, at which point it will create a double bottom. It will 100% definitely bounce off the 38-cent price point. But at 38 cents is a phenomenal price point to take a position because it will be the least risky at that price point. At 38 cents, if you take a position, again, there's a lot we're expecting from the stock on the fundamentals. I'm going to go over the price to sell ratio. But even news-wise, we are waiting for some kind of bill to pass that will legalize like marijuana. We're waiting on some great news information, but on the technical, just on pure technical, if it does go down to 38 cents, like I personally will be loading the boat because at 38 cents, it will be the least risky price point to take a position because there's just so much upside. Like you don't even have to wait till it goes all the way back up to like $2. You could even exit at $1, and from 38 cents, you're looking at more than like a 100% profit. So that's something to watch out for just because we got the sell signal on the weekly that it could potentially break down this 93-cent price point and trade down to like 38 cents, especially with the entire market being down. But again, it's 50-50. There's a 50% chance that it will happen. That's why as of right now, like you have to watch it. Like don't jump in and take a position. Just watch the chart. If it breaks this, goes down to 38 cents, absolutely. I personally will be loading the boat. Nothing is trading or financial advice because from 38 cents, I perceive there to be like the least amount of risk with this stock. So going back to the daily chart, this 200-day moving average could definitely act as a solid support. And if it does that, then it won't come all the way down to this 38-cent price point. It will potentially start to reverse trend. So it will do something like this, like it could just, reverse trend and bounce off this 200-day moving average. But once you see this bounce of this 200-day moving average, maybe you'll have to wait till it goes to like $1.09 and you see that it's a clear trend reversal and we have some solid volume come in. That would be another great price point to take a position. So it could potentially not even come all the way down to 38 cents again. It could just start to bounce right off this 200-day moving average. But I wanted to make this update for you to show you how moving averages are so useful to understand when to take a position and how we're able to use the moving averages and the technicals to predict with such close accuracy what will happen to the price of the stock. And some other stuff I want to cover real quick. So taking a look at the short float is 9%, which is still relatively high. And this will factor in if there's a rally in price. So for example, when I first introduced this stock back 3 months ago, when I was trading at like 68 cents, the short float was around 20%. So it's cut in half, but a 9% short float is still relatively high, not as great, but this does tell us that if the trend does start to reverse and we're back on an uptrend, there's a good chance that the price will continue to rally because the short sellers have to then again go and start covering their positions. And another thing I want to show you is the price to sell ratio for TLRY stock. So take a look at the price to sell ratio. It is extremely undervalued on the books. So when we take a look at the price to sell ratio, it's only 1.39. You can see back in 2019, it was as high as 285. And so the price to sell ratio also makes it desirable from a fundamental perspective. Like it is very low. It's like near an all-time low if you take a look at since 2016. So for the past like 10 years, it is kind of at an all-time low. And that makes it desirable when we take a look at the fundamentals. So this stock is undervalued on the books, but the technicals play a bigger factor. Again, if it starts to bounce off this 200 moving average, great price point to take a position. But if it breaks this 200 moving average at around 38 cents, 40 cents is when it's like the best. So that's when it's like the least risky, best price point to take a position for you to get out at a 50 or 100% profit. But there's a chance, it's 50-50. There's a chance that it won't break this 200-day moving average, at which point taking a position anywhere between 90 cents and $1.10 would be a great price point for us to make a good profit of like 20, 30, 40%. So this is the update I wanted to bring you for TLRY because it is looking very good on the technical, and I gave you two different scenarios that could potentially come into play. So watch this stock, keep it on your watch list. I try to bring you undervalued stocks on this channel, and this stock right now, TLRY, is looking like it's undervalued, almost as undervalued as when I first introduced this stock back when it's trading at like right here, all the way down at like 60 cents. So keep this on your watch list. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel for information like this, and please give this video a like. Let's try to get to 200 likes, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.